What's going on YouTube? My name is Bancroft and today we're going over the new TCG Star Wars Unlimited. But before we get into that, if you enjoyed this content, let me know by hitting the buttons down below. And don't forget to comment down below if you're interested in this game or if you're playing this game, what decks are you playing? Now we're going to pull it back and slow it down a bit. Star Wars Unlimited started out the gate very strong with 18 leaders and 12 bases. You need one each of these in order to play. Now these two cards will determine the color of your deck. Each leader will have two colors and the base will have one. Leaders are split between the four main colors, which are green, red, yellow, blue, and then they're either heroism or villainy, which people are calling white and black. Bases only have one color, and these four color cores are, like I mentioned earlier, red, blue, green, yellow, do have unique names, which are aggression, vigilance, command, and cunning. You can still include cards outside of your color pie, but it will cost you 2 additional resources each time you use a card outside of the colors shown on the leaders and bases. Every leader has two sides to them, a non-unit and a unit side. Leaders may have an additional action for you to do on the non-unit side or a special feature that can help you during the game. Every leader needs a certain amount of resources in play in order to deploy them using their epic actions. Now, epic actions are a once per game skill, so once your leader unit side has been defeated, you can no longer use that same epic action again for the game, and they will remain on their non-unit side for the remaining time. Like leaders, bases will either have an epic action or they won't. The only difference between these two is the extra health you get. So if you play a base with an epic action, your base will only have 25 HP, and then if you play one without an epic action, it has 30. So it kind of breaks down, is the epic action worth those 5 additional hit points? Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. It just depends what you're trying to build. But once your base reaches 0 HP, game over, you lose. What's great about this is that is the only way you can actually lose in this game, because when you deck out, you're not actually out. But anytime you would draw a card, your base will receive 3 additional damage per card you would have drawn. So keep that in mind when you pass turn. For the rest of this video, we won't be going over the actual turn order, just a basic understanding of picking out a base and a leader and what other types of cards are there so that way you can begin building your deck. Once you have a leader and a base, you now know your colors. Let's say you have Luke Skywalker in the Energy Conversion Lab. That would make your deck a blue, green, and white deck for clarification, vigilance, command, and heroism. Now, you can still add colors to the deck that aren't those colors. But if you do, when you go to play an off-color card, for every color that isn't listed on your base or leader, it's going to cost you 2 more additional resources than the cost that is printed on the card per additional color. Now, we touched base on this earlier, but now we're going to get into a little bit more detail because this could be a little tricky. There are cards that exist in the game that have 2 pips of the same color. And at first you might think, cool, I could play this in my multicolored deck with no tax, but you would be wrong. If both your base and your leader didn't share the same color, then you would need to pay an additional cost because the card has 1 more green symbol than your leader and base combination does. Now, moving over to card types. Leaders and bases we've already covered. These 2 card types live outside of your deck, and you will begin the game with them on the table. When it comes to your main deck, you need at least 50 cards, and you can run no more than 3 copies of the same card in a deck. These cards are broken up into 3 main types: units, events, and upgrades. Units can either be ground or space units. Each type of unit will have its own area in which it can be played. Some named units will have a symbol by their name. You can only have 1 copy of this card with the symbol in play, and if you would play another copy of the same card in play, you would have to defeat 1 of the copies. If you ever played Magic the Gathering, it works just like game's legend rules. Units can either attack your opponent's units in the same area or their bases, unless of course there is a card effect preventing this from happening. Events are one-time use cards with effects that usually are pretty strong for their energy costs, and once you use the event card, it goes to the discard pile. Event cards never actually enter play, you just use them and then they have their effect and are discarded. Lastly, upgrade cards. These cards can be attached to units in play. They can boost a unit's stats or even give a unit a new skill that it otherwise wouldn't have had. There are even unique upgrades marked with the same symbols that unique units are marked with, and the same rules apply to unique upgrades that apply to unique units. That about covers things for today's video. Hopefully you all have a better understanding of card types in the Star Wars Unlimited game and how to start building a deck. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. I do plan on making a video going over all the skills and potentially even how to play video as well. But yeah, I think that's about it. Bye.